it terribly useful.
I don't find it terribly useful. That was a psychiatrist's answer when asked about a test that could have revealed how her patient's brain was processing the drugs she prescribed. That patient was Lindsay Clancy, and by the time this cross-examination was over, the jury had heard 14 telehealth sessions, a cocktail of psychiatric medications, and a doctor who admitted she had never treated a single case of postpartum psychosis before sitting down behind a computer screen and treating one of the most vulnerable women in that courtroom. Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy, Plymouth County Superior Court. Day 10 of trial. Defense counsel James Rington conducting cross-examination of prosecution witness Dr. Jennifer Tuss, psychiatrist, Astor Mental Health, Braintree, Massachusetts. The jury had her medical records, they had her notes, and now they had her. Dr. Tuss completed her medical degree at the University of Vermont in 2018. She finished her residency at Boston Medical Center in 2022. She received her board certification on September 12, 2022. She obtained her individual DA prescribing license sometime around August of that same year. And on September 15, 2022, roughly 1 month after she began practicing independently.
So you were practicing as a psychiatrist for a little more than a month?
I was practicing independently with my full credentials for about a month, but the training is just immense that goes on before that.
She sat down in front of a computer and met Lindsay Clancy for the very first time. 1 month. That detail landed quietly in the courtroom, but Rington let it sit. He did not editorialize. He simply asked the next question. In that first month of independent practice, how many patients had she treated for postpartum psychosis? None. The disorder is rare, she explained. How many for postpartum depression? Maybe a couple. She was not sure. She could not pinpoint individuals in such a short span of time. And yet, the Astor Mental Health website, the one Dr. Tuss said she had not personally directed but had read a couple of times, listed perinatal psychiatry as one of her special interests. That listing went up within weeks of her starting the job. She confirmed it. A special interest in treating postpartum women, advertised to the public.
You advertised that after a month working for Astor, right?
That's listed as one of my interests, definitely.
And again, forgive me, how many women did you treat for postpartum depression in that month and a half before you met Lindsay?
I don't know, maybe a couple. But I've treated many of them in the residency, which was...
After a month of independent practice and a residency that overlapped almost entirely with a global pandemic, Rington asked about the Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale, the primary screening tool specifically designed to assess postpartum women. Dr. Tuss said she had heard of it, but did not use it.
We used the PHQ-9, which is
PHQ-9?
It's a depression screening form.
That's like generalized anxiety disorder, general depression. It's got nothing to do with a woman suffering from postpartum depression, does it?
I disagree.
Well, do you agree that people, perhaps that may know a little more than you, determined that the Edinburgh scale is the appropriate scale to administer to a pregnant or postpartum woman?
The state is.
You're familiar with the Edinburgh scale, right?
I've heard of it.
And can you explain to me how it's graded?
No, I cannot.
There are 30 questions in it, are there not?
I don't use this scale, so I don't know how many questions there are.
She used the PHQ-9, a general depression screen with no specific postpartum focus. Could she explain how the Edinburgh scale was graded? No. How many questions it had? She did not know. She did not use that scale. What Rington told the jury next did not come from the doctor's records. It came from elsewhere in the case. Lindsay Clancy's first Edinburgh score, administered by another provider, was 23. The clinical cutoff for severe depression is 15.
You know that her first Edinburgh test that was administered to her put her at a 23?
Objection.
No rule. Severe depression?
I was not aware of this test. I was not aware that this had been administered to her.
The jury now knew something Dr. Tuss did not, because she never asked for it. She had treated Lindsay across 14 sessions, every single one by telehealth. She had never seen this woman in person until she walked into that courtroom on Friday. Not once in 4 months of treatment for a deteriorating postpartum patient.
Until you came in this courtroom Friday, you never saw this woman in person, did you?
Correct.
Were you ever concerned about her mental health as a person?
Had Jennifer Tuss sat in the same room as Lindsay Clancy? Rington slowed here, working deliberately. He asked about the physical cues a psychiatrist is trained to observe. Hand wringing, leg bouncing, the kind of involuntary tells that appear under emotional strain. Could she see Lindsay's hands during those sessions? She did not recall seeing them. Her legs. She could not see below the waist. The camera cut off the same way the witness stand was cutting off Rington himself.
I imagine. Now I'm looking at you, and you've got the witness stand cutting you off in half, right? So I can't see from your waist down, your legs, your feet, your hands, anything. That's the same view that you have on the telemedicine, right?
Yes.
Isn't it fair to say that you've studied and that you've learned that there are objective manifestations that patients may have that would be a tell, like if you're playing poker, you have a tell, that would be an indicia of the fact that they're stressed or emotionally disturbed, right?
Yes.
Like hand wringing, right?
Yes.
Were you able to see the hands wringing when you were on telemedicine?
I don't recall seeing her hands.
You recall, you know how people sit there and they do this with their leg and the leg bounces because they're going through some type of emotional stress? You couldn't even see her legs, could you?
I couldn't see her legs, but I knew that she was under stress.
He noted. From the waist down, you see nothing. Dr. Tuss agreed this was true, and then said it did not affect her assessment. On September 15th, Lindsay's intake form listed her reason for visiting as postpartum anxiety. Her mood was noted as okay, her affect was noted as anxious, and Dr. Tuss herself recorded the word incongruent. During cross-examination, she retreated from that characterization, saying the two were actually pretty congruent. But then Rington asked us, did the records let her write that nuance down? No. The system only gave her options from a drop-down menu. She selected what the software allowed. She could not take a pen and write congruent.
Surprise you, a psychiatrist? And that was only for like a week? When she got the Prozac in nursing school because she was afraid of public speaking? Did you know that?
I was aware that she did not have a significant past psychiatric history. I was aware of that.
She could not write what the technology did not offer. Rington put it plainly. You're trying to treat a human being, but you're limited by a drop-down box. Her answer, what mattered most was the treatment, not what got checked off. The prescribing history came next. Zoloft, 25 milligrams on the first visit. Dr. Tuss acknowledged that Zoloft carries a black box FDA warning for suicidal ideation in patients up to age 24. Lindsay Clancy was 29 at the time. Dr. Tuss said there was no evidence the risk extended to patients a few years older than the cutoff. Rington asked whether it was at least possible a brain at 29 or 30 could still be affected. She said it was possible. Then she said she did not mention the black box warning to Lindsay because it specifically applied to children and young adults, not someone Lindsay's age. Lindsay had also told the doctor she was having severe trouble sleeping. Dr. Tuss had confirmed that. Rington asked why she would prescribe a medication that carries insomnia.
Now, when you were going over the symptomology or when you were going over the side effects of Zoloft, one of the side effects of Zoloft is, and I quote, severe trouble sleeping, right?
Yes.
Did you tell her that?
Well, insomnia is listed as a side effect.
No. You already said yes. You know it. Did you tell her that Zoloft has a side effect of giving the patient severe trouble sleeping? That's all.
So I didn't use the word severe because it typically doesn't cause severe trouble sleeping, but I thought you were referring to when she told me that she did have severe trouble sleeping.
Well, that's what she told you, right? That she had severe trouble sleeping, right?
She told me,
Yes. And you know that one of the side effects of Zoloft is, let's say, trouble sleeping. You know that, right?
Yes.
Your answer is yes. The jury has to be able to hear you.
Yes.
And why would you prescribe Zoloft to a young woman who's postpartum, who's coming to you with anxiety, who's telling you she can't sleep, she's got all of these symptoms, and you prescribe a medication that would have a side effect of trouble sleeping?
As a known side effect to a patient whose primary presenting symptom was that she could not sleep, some people have no side effects, Dr. Tuss explained. Zoloft is a first-line medication. Lindsay waited a month before taking it. She was afraid. Not drug-seeking. Afraid. She eventually increased the dose as instructed, felt awful, and called it off. More depressed. More anxious. Worse insomnia. Stomach problems. Dr. Tuss told her to stop the medication. No taper. Immediate cessation. At 50 milligrams, she explained, that is medically acceptable. What followed was a rotation of new prescriptions: Ativan, Buspar, hydroxyzane, Benadryl over the counter, Trazodone from another provider, Remeron Clonopin, Seroquel from the South Shore Perinatal Clinic, Valium, and eventually amitriptyline.
I didn't have access to those records.
You're going to keep your voice up so everybody can hear you. You what?
I did not have access to those records.
None.
Because we're a completely separate clinic.
Seriously? She's visiting with you as a patient and you can't access her medical records? Is what you're telling this jury?
I did not have access to them, no.
Could she have signed a release? A HIPAA form?
Yes, she could have.
And you could have got the records.
Yes.
But you didn't.
I did not feel like it was necessary because she provided all the relevant information about her treatment there.
At various points in this sequence, Dr. Tuss acknowledged she did not have records from the South Shore Perinatal Clinic. She did not have records from Women and Infants Hospital in Rhode Island. She did not have records from McLean Hospital, where Lindsay would eventually be admitted. She knew what Lindsay told her. She knew what was in her own notes. She had not asked for releases. She had not called other providers. She had not spoken to Lindsay's husband Patrick more than once, and that single conversation was by screen, not in person. She had never spoken to Lindsay's parents.
They never called me or sent a message, so I did not have communication with them.
So that's their fault that they didn't call you, the doctor, I guess, right?
It's a state. Next question.
So, do you think maybe it would be reasonable if you're the doctor and you're investigating your patient's symptomology that you might, when you know that the parents are staying with her, that you would make a phone call yourself?
It's not typical when you have an adult who is able to advocate for themselves to speak with their parents.
So while she is telling you about her symptomology and tearfulness and crying and unable to get up and anxiety and the medications and the mental illness that she had, you felt that she could advocate for herself?
Yes.
Who had moved into the home because Lindsay could not manage alone. They never called me, Dr. Tuss explained. And when Rington asked if perhaps a doctor might reach out proactively to the family of a deteriorating postpartum patient, she offered the same answer she returned to throughout the examination. Lindsay was an adult. She could advocate for herself.
December 1st.
So on December 1st, what did she tell you?
That she denied feeling suicidal, but that she was close to feeling suicidal.
That's kind of like being a fisherman out in the ocean who's worried about the possibility of a storm and is thinking about the storm and is dwelling on the storm, almost in fear of the storm, right?
Projection.
No rule.
Isn't it?
I guess.
So when she tells you that she's, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, what did she say? She's having suicidal thoughts, or what did she say? All close to it?
She denied having suicidal thoughts, but felt that she was getting close to it.
Okay. So she was dwelling on it or thinking about it, right? Is that fair?
She was fearful of eventually having those kinds of thoughts.
To kill herself.
On December 1st, Lindsay told Dr. Tuss she felt close to having suicidal thoughts. Not that she was having them, that she was afraid she might. Dr. Tuss documented it. She provided supportive therapy. She told Lindsay there was still hope. She did not ask how frequently the thoughts were occurring, because today she could not recall, though she believed she did know at the time. It was not in the notes. Rington asked, had she ever asked Lindsay whether she had called the suicide hotline?
Hotlines.
Would it surprise you to know that she called suicide hotline in that time frame, not once, but twice, and was turned away? You guys were in the front line of this, aren't you?
No rule.
It does surprise me, yes.
It does what?
It surprises me that she called them twice.
Dr. Tuss said she did not think so. Would it surprise you to know she called twice and was turned away? It surprises me that she called them twice. Then, near the end of the cross-examination, as Dr. Tuss was defending her October 21st notes, Rington read her own handwriting back to her. Not hyper, pressured speech. He asked her to confirm that was what she wrote. She said yes, but insisted the jury was misreading it. She had meant it as not hyper and not pressured speech. Two separate negatives, separated by a comma that was not there.
Heart racing, severe anxiety, worrying about kids, baby, sleep, yawns but not drowsy, not hyper, pressured speech.
What was that? Not hyper what?
Not hyper, not pressured speech is what I meant. I know it doesn't say not, but that is exactly what I meant.
When did you see this that you noticed that it did not say not?
I don't care what it says. I know what I meant.
Well, when you wrote this, you did not say not pressured speech. You said in the medical record, pressured speech, right?
No.
Does it say that?
Yeah, the word is the word not is right before not hyper, comma, pressured speech.
Right.
The two are following
what
the
does a comma mean
not.
to you? When you put down in a medical record, heart racing, comma, severe anxiety, comma, worried about kids, comma, baby, comma, sleep, comma, yawns but not drowsy, period. Not hyper, comma, pressured speech. That's what you wrote, right?
She did not have
Did you
pressured
write
speech.
that, doctor?
I wrote that, but you're misinterpreting my note.
Am I reading this correctly, and the jury will be able to look at it, that you put not hyper, comma, pressured speech? Did I read that right?
Yes, but your interpretation is incorrect.
The jury would have those notes in the room with them during deliberations. Dr. Tuss looked at the page and said, I know what I meant. On January 23, 2023, one day before her children died, Lindsay Clancy sat in front of a camera and told Dr. Jennifer Tuss she had been feeling numb and without emotion for 17 days straight. Her heart was racing. She had no motivation. Dr. Tuss increased the amitriptyline dosage and scheduled a follow-up. She did not recommend hospitalization. There were no signs of psychosis, she said. No plan, no stated intent, nothing that required anything more than adjusting the prescription one more time.
No.
So she's sitting in front of her computer, getting help from her doctor on January 23rd. And What did you do?
Well, I thought about how I could best help her, the medicines that she'd tried, and what her current symptoms were. And it made sense to slowly titrate the amitriptyline so that we could get her to a dose that reduced her depression so that she would feel better.
But you increased the amitriptyline.
Yes,
That pushed you over the edge, didn't it?
I don't think so.
That's all I have.
Defense counsel asked the final question quietly that pushed her over the edge, didn't it? Dr. Tuss answered, I don't think so. The prosecution later introduced evidence from the pill bottle itself, 8 pills missing from the amitriptyline prescription, 1 for each day between January 16th and the 23rd. She never took the increased dose. The medication was not the issue the defense was suggesting, but what the pill bottle could not speak to, what no drop-down menu could capture, what 14 telehealth sessions behind a camera never surfaced, was the full picture of a woman in crisis, calling hotlines twice without telling her doctor, researching ketamine treatments online without telling her doctor, terrified of the very drugs that were supposed to help her, sleeping in the same bed as her mother because she could not be alone. Dr. Jennifer Tuss did not know any of that, because she never asked, and because no one on the other end of that camera told her. She had a special interest in postpartum psychiatry. She had advertised it. She had 1 month of independent experience when she first opened that patient file. The jury now had 14 sessions worth of notes, a drop-down menu where the word deteriorating had been automatically selected because the software only offered 3 choices, and the image of a doctor who treated one of the most complex psychiatric presentations of her career entirely through a screen she shared with no one. That is what the record showed. The jury would decide what it meant.